All right, welcome to another video. Derek here. We're sitting with Jamie. Jamie,
Hi there.
introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Jamie. Yeah, I'm someone else passionate about Cardano and the ecosystem and just cryptocurrency in general. I have more of a tech background, so we'll be getting into a little bit more, I guess, with Market Maker Bot. But yeah, so I'm just really passionate about this field and kind of combining finance and technology together. That's
That's
how we kind
great.
of got introduced.
Yes, that's that's what cryptocurrency is, right? It's the
Yeah.
combination of finance and technology. And I do a lot of DeFi because I'm not a developer, I'm not a tech person, so I have no choice but to practice my hand at the decentralized finance world, which is fantastic. I love helping people understand that. And one thing that I haven't been able to understand, and the focus of this video, we're going to try to put together, this will probably be like a series.
Right.
It's the market maker bot for Genius Yield. All right, Genius Yield is a decentralized exchange I've talked about on the channel. It's either a giant sleeper or a nothing burger, right? My bet is that it's a giant sleeper, but that's just my opinion. It's the first order book DEX showcasing the innovative utility of the extended UTXO accounting model that Cardano has built on the back of Bitcoin, right? Like Bitcoin is why Bitcoin is so powerful is because it has a different accounting model than your traditional account-based model, like your traditional banking. Bitcoin has the UTXO, the unspent transaction output model. It's kind of like a cash register style accounting system. And Ethereum broke off of that model and went back to account-based, and Cardano brought it back. And so most of the decentralized exchanges that currently exist right now, like Uniswap, PancakeSwap, on Cardano, MinSwap, ViFinance, SundaySwap, Wing Riders, these are all automated market maker DEXs, so AMM DEXs. And Ethereum really brought them into the world. And so Cardano followed with MinSwap, like I just mentioned. MinSwap, SundaySwap, Wing Riders, MuesliSwap, ViFinance are all automated market maker DEXs. But Genius Yield said, hold on, my friends. With the UTXO model, we could create an order book DEX. And so there are no order book DEXs that exist, except Axo is trying to do it. There's a few kind of coming up now, but I like Genius Yield for several reasons. And they are leaving it up to the community to create what these market maker bots are. And I've been trying to think about how to do it for forever now. But order book DEXs are what you see in the centralized exchange world, where you're looking at Coinbase, Kraken. The big exchanges are all order book DEXs. And so this is really unique. So what is the market maker bot? We're going to go with this as like a little intro video. I think the next video we're going to be looking at some computer screens, and he's going to try to show me how to do it. He spun one up already on the test net and on the main net. And if I could do it, if he could get me to do it, then I'm sure you could do it too, because there could be great opportunities. Yeah. So talk to me about the market maker bot. For the folks who don't know what market maker bots are, maybe what market making is, I don't know. Yeah, take it from there.
Yeah, I think market making can sound kind of daunting for non-financial individuals. It often is associated with market making. I think of as liquidity. Market making is when there's a market to be made, and so often there's scenarios where there's a lot of market makers in the financial world at the moment. And they're usually participating in stocks and options and other things like that. But the difference between that in this kind of ecosphere is that it's kind of like power back to the people, where people can run their own market maker bots. They can do their own thing. And so in this case with Genius Yield and not being an automated market maker, an automated one is pretty much just where you submit a transaction and the market maker fills the order. It's the kind of the oracle of the market. It's sort of a sorting who's buying, sorting who's selling, and kind of connecting buyers and sellers, if you will. And by providing, by being the market maker, you're actually taking on the risk of the other person. You're essentially the counterparty, if you will, I guess is the best way to put it. And so if I try to sell you a certain pair, in this case, like Cardano over Gens, I need to ideally have both currencies in a traditional market maker world. But one thing that's interesting about the Genius Yield world is that you can provide one side liquidity, which is interesting. And the benefit of all this, why this all matters in the first place, is one, you're participating in a ecosystem that you can be passionate about, like Genius Yield, Cardano in general, and then two, you can also earn something by doing it. So the difference between a market maker and then a traditional buyer, like if I want to buy something, buy a stock, usually because of what are called spreads, I'm going to be buying at the top of the spread and then I would sell below. So essentially I would net lose. But market makers are in usually the opposite position where they're buying down here and they're selling here and they net the spread. And so that's the one benefit. Ideally, you make money by doing this. Essentially, you can do that through what's called arbitrage too. And then on top of that, the benefit of doing it in the world of cryptocurrency and like decentralized finance is you net rewards. So often you do get like Cardano or something for what you're doing. So you're getting compensated by doing, by participating, compensation for participation. And I think that's really powerful. So I guess in a nutshell, it's providing liquidity and netting rewards for providing that liquidity.
Right. Yeah. So right now with the automated market maker dexes that are out there, if you want to provide liquidity, you have to have both assets, right? Like you have to have like min token and ADA, and you provide equal parts, 50-50 ratio of like $1,000 worth of min swap and $1,000 worth of ADA, and you provide both of those assets into the pool, and then you have provided liquidity. So you literally provide liquidity on both sides of the trade, and you just let them in there, and then you're going to take advantage of all the swapping fees, and they have batchers and all that stuff. And so it's hands off, right? Like me, the participant, just provides that liquidity. I have to provide both sides, and then I can just kind of sit back while the batching process and all that kind of takes place, and I can kind of then yield farm those tokens. So then I get liquidity provider tokens sent to my wallet, and I could farm them, and then I can get yield farming rewards. This is all AMM style dexing. Now in MinSwap, you can also just use one of the sides. Like if I just have ADA, I can zap that in, and then MinSwap will divide that in half for me, right? It's growing. The DeFi world is growing. The landscape is getting thick. It's getting deep, especially for their Cardano ecosystem, where they have not seen in their entirety a DeFi, what they call a DeFi summer. So things are about to heat up. What I like about Genius Yield is that it's more manual, right? And so this whole concept of market maker bots, which you can find out on their website, you can join their Discord. They're really fantastic. They answer questions. And anybody can set up a market maker bot, right?
Yep.
And it's supposed to be not that hard, but there's a little bit of difficulty to it. And so that's why we're going to put this video out there, because I don't see anybody online showing step-by-step how to do this on mainnet. And we're going to try to take our crack at that so that we can make it as easy as possible for you. Things will get easier as time goes on. I'm sure that it will be easier and easier to spin up a market maker bot for Genius Yield and take advantage of this. I have some fantastic Gens tokens now, and we're going to see what we can do to actually put them to work and make a profitable market maker bot. So can a market maker bot lose money for you?
Theoretically, yeah, it could. I mean, there's always risk associated with it. It depends how you set it up. If you're doing like fixed order spreads, ideally you don't lose money, but I mean, there's a risk to anything in this world. And especially if you're trading one currency, if you're only buying one currency and it starts tanking, you could lose money. Again, it's all how you set up the bot. It depends on the config. It depends on a multitude of factors, but Ideally, you're doing this to make money.
So what are the factors? What do you need to do? What are the 5, you said you were talking earlier.
Right.
What are the 5 things you need to do to set up a market maker bot? And I'm going to stop you and ask you what each of these are, because some of these are like, whoop, way over my head. Some I know, but I'm sure the average person who isn't a developer technically sound knows anything about this. And so we're going to make it easy here at Crypto Fluency. We like to make the complex world of cryptocurrency, cryptography, easy to understand so that we can get in the game now, take advantage of these games. Go ahead. What are the 5 things?
So 1, you have to have an understanding of what Docker is, and I'll explain that.
The heck is Docker?
Docker it's an open source platform that allows you just to test, build, and deploy applications that you might have, and these things called containers. So that's the first one. So you need Docker to deploy this whole thing. 2,
is that like an application that you download on your App Store?
Yep. Well, it's Docker Desktop is what
Docker
you need.
Desktop. Okay.
And they list the requirements and stuff you need for the software on their GitHub, which is a repository of code where all the code's stored, and it's open to the public. You can see, you can contribute if you want. So that's one thing they do. On top of that, you have to have I believe, a paying subscription for Maestro. Maestro's API keys.
What does API stand for?
It's application programming interface. It's sort of like the way you interface with it. It's sort of like the language it speaks.
Okay.
So you need that key for the data.
So Maestro sort of builds that tool so that you can use that.
You get the key from them.
Genius Yield or something.
Yeah, so they provide the price data. So you're getting like what Cardano's current price is, what the other currency's price is. And that's how you determine what the strategy is. So Docker, you have to have the key for that.
Maestro, and that's gomaestro.com, right? I think that's what that is.
That sounds right.
GoMaestro.
Yeah, gomaestro.org. Maybe?
And that's Marvin Burton. I know them because he is one of the co-founders of Genius Yield, which makes me even more excited about what Maestro is doing. It's a separate venture for Marvin Burton, but he is also co-founder of Genius Yield, so his API keys are definitely lined up, and so we've tested them. Okay, so that's number 2.
Yeah, number 3 is you have to have you have to know your way around command prompt or terminal. So you need to be able to set up what are called environment variables, and they list 4 of them that you need. And to go back, an environment variable is something that like anything could be locally used. So for example, your seed phrase you set up as an variable, so the program can recognize it, the program can work with it, the code can interact with it. And the same thing happens with the API key. You need to be able to set that up as one of the variables to access the services that they provide.
Wow, okay.
And
you're telling me I'm going to be able to understand this when we go through it?
Ideally, yes.
Okay.
We'll work on that.
All right. So I need some environment now. I need Dockers. I need containers. I need API keys. I need some environment thing.
Yeah, and then you also have to know how to set up your collateral UTXO in your wallet.
That's something I'm kind of familiar with, right?
So that's one thing that you'll be good at. And that's something you just set up, and you get it's one of those environment variables that you set up your collateral, and then it knows where to reference it. And then the last thing that you need to know how to do, if you're trying to seriously make money with this, is you have to understand there's config files in there, and config files are just different parameters and different operations, if you will, that are determining what the market maker bot is going to be doing.
This is number 5 now. We're on config files.
Yeah, so you need to know your way around config files. You need to know what strategy you're setting up, because otherwise you could be just losing money.
Give me an example of a strategy.
Yeah, so one that they discuss that's in there is arbitrage, which is essentially risk-free profit, where you buy something here and it's selling for this on maybe another exchange or whatever. So you buy something for 100 and you sell it for 101, and you just keep doing that. And ideally, in a competitive market, those prices will converge to, and it'll be in what's called an efficient market, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you look at the price of, like ADA on MinSwap, and then you look at the price of ADA on SundaySwap and on Wing Riders and on CoinMarketCap, or you look at the price of ADA on Kraken and Coinbase, there is slight differences. Like it could be pennies. But you're talking about arbitrage on a larger scale. If you're trading $100,000 worth of value, those pennies add up quick.
Yep. And sometimes fees if you're doing it right.
So some people just arbitrage. That's what they do. And with the decentralized world, arbitrage is a massive. It's a massive way to keep the markets healthy, I would say too.
Yeah, and that's where like the rewards come in. So those are like the 5 things I can think of off the bat that like you need to have like a elementary level of understanding at least to start contributing or start working on like actually setting this up.
How did you so did you know any of this when you started trying it? When I was like, hey, we have to start a market maker bot.
Yeah,
I came to you like a couple months ago. I was like, look, how do we do this market maker bot? It took you, and what's your background in developing? Do you have a big background, or is it something that you just like, I'm self-learning?
Right. So I'm exposed to some of this technology at work. I've played around with a lot of this stuff too. So a lot of it's been trial and error, if I'm being honest, but also a lot of it has been just direct exposure to it in like a corporate setting, if you will. Okay. So I think that gives me a leg up slightly in terms of figuring it out, but it doesn't mean no one else can figure it out. I think if it's like explicitly stated and like step by step, I think anybody can do it.
Nice. And we're going to try to help make that step-by-step process easier and catalog this process. This is our first little video. We just threw the microphone here. This is all sort of rugged style right now, but we feel like it's important. I think there's some exciting announcements coming out with Genius Yield next week with Fluid Finance. The UI is going to change. There's lots of opportunities, and so I think it would be a perfect time to just kind of wrap our minds around what this is. And I'm excited to have you here. I'm excited to have you be a part of this. We're also working on some other projects in the DeFi world that you could just pay attention to that will try to help these problems that we face in DeFi, whether it relates to lending and borrowing or providing liquidity here. And that's exciting. So what are we going to be doing in the next video?
Yeah, so I think the next thing that makes sense is like walking through how you would set this up.
Like you're going to be in your own space. You're going to be doing this at your computer. I'm going to be here, my computer. You're going to be talking me through. We're going to be doing this on video kind of a thing. Yeah. Sweet. And then hopefully somebody can be watching, could just be like following along also.
Yeah.
Potentially competing against our market maker bot or what?
No, we can't have that. No.
We can't have that? I mean,
our strategy is the best. No.
Okay. So that's cool. And what I love about this is that it should engage the community to be competitive, right? Because I'm sure there's a lot of different strategies that you can tune your market maker bot. And then I guess if your market maker bot isn't profiting, then you can like change your strategy around. Is as easy as that? Like once you understand these configs, number 5, the config stuff?
Yeah. Well, I think, again, that's sort of the implicit understanding of like general finance is helpful to understand why isn't it working maybe, or what can I do to make it work better. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the idea is that especially if there's multiple strategies or multiple bots doing the same thing, like it's only going to be one, ideally it'll be better, more liquidity in the market, but 2, on top of that, eventually like your strategies will kind of cancel each other out. So sometimes you have to change your strategy. That is very common in this world of people trying to arbitrage and people trying to get every little penny. So
kind of like lifting weights, right? Like you just lift, and then all of a sudden you just switch things up, right? You need to attack the muscles differently. That's how I'm looking at the market maker bots. We need to just like, build this muscle up. I'm excited about it because I believe in Genius Yield. I met Lars at Rare Evo, talked to him for a while, and I'm bullish on the project. A lot of people aren't. Most people don't know what it is, and so we're trying to give it to you right now in real time. So I'm excited about the next video where we're actually going to put some use case into this. We're going to start putting some stuff down and funding one of these bots and getting it going and seeing how it tracks. So I know there's a competition. I know there's a competition within Genius Yield right now, depending on how the volume you're trading. So I've been doing it manually. I've been in the beginning. I did a lot of manual trading on Genius Yield for their accelerated yield event. That was fun, but I would much rather allow this baby to work for me, right?
Let technology do its thing.
Awesome. Is there anything else you want to say here before we wrap this up and get to work on it, or what?
No, let's get to it. I'm excited for this.
Let's get to it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for watching. I can't wait to do the next video in this little market maker bot series. We might also mess around with some smart order routers. They're out too, but that's like down the road. I love thinking down the road. But I hope you got something out of this. Stay excited and stay tuned. We'll see you guys in a video soon.